The crystalline towers of New Geneva stretched toward the artificial sky, their surfaces reflecting the controlled sunlight that filtered through the station's atmospheric dome. Zethkar adjusted his expensive neural interface collar as he glided through the upper-tier shopping district in his hovering transport pod, his four eyes scanning the crowds below with practiced indifference. As one of the wealthiest Velthari in the galaxy, Zethkar had grown accustomed to the deference of lesser species. His mining consortium controlled 17 asteroid belts across 3 systems, and his influence extended far beyond mere commerce. Yet today something nagged at the edges of his consciousness, a memory he couldn't quite grasp. His transport descended toward the market level, where humans and other client species conducted their modest trade. Zethkar rarely visited these lower districts, but his business manager had insisted on a personal inspection of their new humanitarian outreach program. Good publicity, they called it. Tax benefits, too. That's when he saw her, a young human female, no more than 20 standard years, sat beside a makeshift stall selling what appeared to be handcrafted trinkets. Her clothes were patched and worn, her face thin from obvious malnutrition. But it wasn't her poverty that made Zethkar's breathing apparatus hitch. It was the bracelet on her wrist. The intricate band of living metal pulsed with a soft blue light, its biomechanical components seamlessly integrated with delicate engravings. Zethkar's 4 hands trembled as he ordered his transport to land. He knew that bracelet. He had crafted it himself decades ago. Alexander noticed the expensive vehicle first, nudging his sister Nora as the alien businessman approached their humble stall. The Velthari moved with the fluid grace of his species. But there was something different about this one, an intensity in his multifaceted gaze that made Alexander instinctively step closer to Nora. "That bracelet," Zethkar said, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into accented standard. "Where did you acquire it?" Nora's hand moved protectively to her wrist. "It was our mother's. She passed 5 years ago." The words hit Zethkar like a plasma bolt. Sarah, the human doctor who had saved his life when his ship crashed on that backwater colony world 43 years ago. She had refused every offer of payment, every gift he tried to bestow upon her. All except one. "Your mother," Zethkar's voice grew soft. "Was she a physician? Did she serve on Kepler 442b? Alexander and Nora exchanged glances. Their mother had spoken little of her time before they were born, but they knew she had worked in the outer colonies. "Dr. Sarah Chen," Nora whispered. "How did you—" Zethkar's emotional regulators nearly overloaded. Sarah Chen, the woman who had spent 3 days and nights fighting to save his life when his ship's life support failed, who had jury-rigged human medical equipment to work with Velthari physiology, who had treated him not as an alien but as a person in need. He had been young then, barely an adult by his species' standards, piloting a small survey ship for his father's fledgling company. The bracelet had been his most precious possession, a coming-of-age gift from his grandmother, embedded with nanotechnology that could monitor and support biological functions. He had insisted Sarah take it, knowing her work in the frontier clinics put her at constant risk. "She saved my life," Zethkar said simply. "I offered her wealth, position, anything she desired. She wanted only to help people." The alien businessman studied the 2 young humans before him, Alexander's protective stance, Nora's quiet dignity despite their obvious poverty, Sarah's children, carrying on despite losing their mother far too young. "Tell me," Zethkar continued, "what happened to her clinic?" "The corporation pulled funding 3 years after she died," Alexander said bitterly. "Said frontier medicine wasn't profitable enough. The whole colony barely has basic medical supplies now." Zethkar's translator couldn't convey the complex harmony of emotions in his native language: gratitude, sorrow, determination. But it didn't matter. Some things transcended species barriers. "I have a proposition," he said. "Not charity. I learned long ago that humans have pride that rivals any Velthari noble. A partnership." Over the next hour, Zethkar outlined his idea: the Chen Memorial Medical Foundation, funded by his consortium but administered by Sarah's children. Alexander would oversee the logistics. His obvious intelligence and protective nature made him perfect for managing supply chains and security. Nora would direct the medical programs, her mother's bracelet serving as both memorial and practical tool. Its nanotechnology could be reverse-engineered to create advanced diagnostic equipment. But why? Nora asked. We're nobody special. Zethkar's laugh was a musical trill. Child, your mother could have lived in luxury as my personal physician. Instead, she chose to serve on worlds where Velthari medical ships would never venture. Where no profit could be made, only lives saved. He gestured to the bracelet.
She wore that every day, didn't she?
Even when its power cells should have failed decades ago? Nora nodded, confused. It's been drawing power from its wearer's bioelectric field, Zethkar explained. Impossible technology, even by our standards. But your mother's determination, her absolute commitment to healing, somehow that sustained it. That bracelet has been monitoring and subtly enhancing the health of everyone she touched. Her patients, her children, everyone she embraced. Alexander's eyes widened. The impossible recoveries at their mother's clinic. Nora's uncanny ability to diagnose illnesses with just a touch. Their own resilience despite years of hardship. Humans, Zethkar continued, are the only species in the galaxy that can take our most advanced technology and make it work through sheer force of will and compassion. That's not weakness, that's power beyond anything we can build or buy. 6 months later, the first Chen Memorial Medical Station opened in the Kepler system. Dr. Nora Chen, wearing her mother's bracelet, treated patients from a dozen different species. Her brother Alexander coordinated supply runs that somehow always managed to reach colonies that other organizations deemed too remote or economically unfeasible. And Zethkar, watching from his corporate offices, finally understood what his grandmother had tried to teach him when she gave him that bracelet. True wealth wasn't measured in credits or territories conquered, but in lives touched and legacies honored. The bracelet continued to pulse with that same blue light, carrying Sarah's compassion forward into a new generation, proof that some gifts transcend death itself.